welcome to another episode of the InfoTech Growth Partner Podcast, the podcast where the future of IT unfolds, and we dive deeper into the pertinent developments in regards to IT and data with leaders and experts in the IT consulting field. My name is Jasper, and today I have the pleasure to have Maciej Krajewski in the show. He is the CEO at Yameo, and it's great to have you on the show, Maciej. Welcome.
Hi, Jasper. Happy to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Awesome. Looking forward to the conversation. For the audience, for the people listening, can you give a little bit of an introduction into yourself, into what Yameo does, and what your role within the company is?
Sure. So I've been a technical guy for many years. Actually, many years ago, 18 years ago, I joined a startup, telco startup, where I've been DevOps when it wasn't so popular right then. So on one hand, I was administrator. On the other hand, I was a Java developer. And unfortunately, it was quite successful startup because when I joined, there was only a couple people on board. And when I was leaving the company after 8 years, it was 140, around that number. So that was pretty good experience to be in the company and see it's growing, see all of the challenges that can come out during the way. And I've met a couple of great people, and I had the opportunity to have a very nice bosses that mentored me during my way in the startup company. Afterwards, I've joined Yameo as technical director, but something went wrong, and after 3 months, I became managing director, and actually here I am. And speaking of Yameo, we are a software consulting company, Dutch-based. However, we also have localizations in Gdańsk in Poland and also in Accra in Ghana. As I've mentioned, we are doing software consultancy, mostly in around project area and fintech and healthcare. But additionally, we have our own product. We have the superior role where we actually are a software company with a working product that is currently on the market.
Thanks for the introduction. And one thing I want to start with is you did a sort of a management buyout a couple of years ago in Yameo. Can you tell us like how that journey went? Like it is not that you just join the company and say, well, I want to buy out the management. Can you talk us through that journey a little bit and also what made you decide to buy the company?
Okay, that was actually a pretty interesting story because after 8 years in the startup company I've mentioned at the beginning, I was sitting a little bit on the fence and wondering if I should join a bigger organization or maybe a smaller one. Because one thing that I've noticed working in my previous company, that having 140 people and being a director, then there were some kind of politics already involved in this size of company. And I was really focused all the way on the effectiveness. And I've seen that those politics is a little bit blocking the company. And of course, the bigger company, the bigger politics. So at one point, actually, my former boss contacted me and said, well, Maciej, I know that you are actually looking for a job. And I spoke to the guys. Then the company was not called Yameo, but Nearshoring Solutions. And they are looking for technical director. And I believe you will be a great fit to this role. Maybe you should speak to them. So I spoke. And I joined 100 something people company, being as a technical director. However, here's also quite an interesting story because after joining, the whole financial situation of the company was not so good. And that was a little bit of surprise for me because before joining, I did a couple of checks. And after 3 months of being in the company, I had to make a decision if I would like to stay or maybe search for another job because there were huge cash flow issues. And actually, the company at this point of time was not performing the way it should. Mm-hmm. And I remember those doubts in my head. Should I stay or should I go? And the major thing that actually decided that I would stay in this company is that it will look bad in my CV, that after 3 months, after being 8 years in one company, being a technical director, then I'm switching after 3 months to another role. So I decided that I would stay, and there were some major changes in the company. We had to let go a couple of people. We changed its name from Nearshoring Solutions to Yameo, also to break up with the past and to change a little bit with the model that the company was operating in the past. So it was operating the way that majority of software companies currently are operating. So it was mostly about team outsourcing. So you have hourly fee, you deliver people and are just charging for hourly fees. And I didn't find this model really effective. So you are not bringing any additional value to the table. So we break with that, put more emphasis on the video product. That is helping banks and insurance companies to do remote inspections and focus on the customers, focus actually on the domains, healthcare and fintech, and build a real expertise with managing projects. And I remember after first year, this change was pretty successful because we started to be profitable. And I remember that it was really nice act from the past owners that they actually proposed me that, well, Maciej, you did good. So we'll give you options for shares. If you'll stay with us a couple of years longer, you will have this amount of shares. And it was pretty nice. So yeah, this is how the story begins. And I remember that after being 2 years in the company, we started a discussion that, yeah, maybe I would like to do management buyout. However, the issue with this management buyout, I remember we met in this room in Rotterdam, making plans for next year. And when I had an amount in my head for which I would like to buy the company and the past owner's amount, the gap was really huge. So just for your imagination, I said 1 million and they said 12. So at that point of time, it was pretty hard to manage. But after a year, an opportunity arose. Actually, the previous owners decided that they would like to sell the company. They used a third-party company in Netherlands that is pretty expertise in doing buyouts and sales in small, medium businesses. And throughout this company, they found an investor that was really interested that there is a management buyout because from the investor perspective, that's a pretty safe option that you have people on board. And I also remember that during this process, I asked one of the colleagues that was already working in this company way longer than I did. He was in that moment chief operating officer in this company. I asked him if he's interested actually to join me and do the management buyout with me and this investor. Happily, he actually agreed. He thanked me for this opportunity. Yeah, and after this process of meeting all the potential investors, speaking to the right ones, making decisions if that investor would be actually a good choice for Yameo. And after quite long negotiations, which took, remember, it was around 9 months, we finalized the management buyout.
Wow. Long story.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting that you decided to do a buyout. Well, at least at first, as you said, at the 3 months, you saw, well, there's some cash flow issues. Not sure what I still want to be working here, but then looking at my resume, I don't want to have a 3-month tenure on my resume after being in a different company for 8 years. So it's quite a big of a transition that the company went through, and for you to decide to actually become an owner of the business. Oh, yeah.
That's true, but if I would like to add maybe here something, in this, I was rose in the family. Actually, my mother was a quite successful person who actually owned the company from the beginning. So I had this mentality of being an owner. When I joined the company, I didn't have those kind of plans. Actually, my natural habitat is actually being a technical director. This is a position I really like. I like working with technology. But because of this transition and the issues with the company, I was pushed more to sales and managing the whole company, which, to be honest, I also enjoyed. However, there is a big drawback with this position. You have to wait much longer for the results. And this is something that is sometimes killing, but at the end of the day, also rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. Um, and after you actually did the buyout, that was a couple of years ago. How did the last couple of years go? Like, what are some challenges that you face? Some things that weren't prepared for. Some things like that. Can you share something about that as well?
Yeah, sure. Maybe before I will tell you about the years after the buyout, before the buyout, I prepared myself because I finished MBA studies. And when I started those, I was not even aware if I will do the buyout. But yeah, this is something that actually could work back, looking at your networking that you can get uh, during those studies. So when I was taking over the company, I was already after my MBA, which was actually quite a good way how to a little bit organize your knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
learn something here. And the biggest issue that we were aware at the beginning, so me and the other owners, is actually the sales part, because the previous owners were also involved in the sales, and majority we didn't have any real salespeople on board, and we foresee that it would be an issue. We even hired an external company that we paid with goals, with actually many gold to hire a good salesperson to such company as ours that is actually localized in has a couple of locations in different countries. And I remember the salary that was then a lot that we were paying, with of course a lot of promises. I didn't have as much experience as I have today, and you know how salespeople are. They are promising a lot, and that
Yep.
was actually quite an interesting story because when we hired this person, we let go her pretty quickly because I remember it was 3 or 4 months, but it's not because she wasn't bringing a result. Well, actually, she wasn't, but uh, she was not really working, and she had her second life as an artist, a very controversial one. So that's actually quite a good episode in my life. That I've learned that her name was Delilah J, doing a lot of stuff around the internet. Like yeah.
Okay.
So after this, let's say false start that we had with a salesperson, we decided to cooperate with a person we know really well working in Germany that helped us build up a little bit of client base over there. Uh, but after a year of cooperation, year and a half, we decided that actually we should split our ways. He had a very good opportunity in a huge enterprise, telco enterprise. Uh, But I remember that the first 2 years was really struggling with sales, especially that our sales process, as we are not just outsourcing developers, because if you're in this area, the sales process is pretty fast. So it can be from 1 month to 3 months. We are doing projects, and building up a project with this consultancy part usually takes at least 1.5 years. So starting up from nothing, building up those base, you have to be pretty consistent
Mm-hmm.
and hardworking. But at the end, it worked. But that was, to be honest, the biggest challenge. Something we foresee, but we didn't expect it will be so hard.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point indeed. If you're just outsourcing, you're directly like people just need people. Companies just need people, and you can quite quickly deliver them. With projects and implementations, it's very specific on the thing that they want, and it's very customized. So it's only normal that it takes quite some time and quite some discussions and to really understand what they actually need. And with that, also because you're more focused or you're only doing fixed price projects as well, which is very interesting. There's not that many companies that dare to only do fixed price projects. with that, it's also very important that you have that understanding of what they actually need, because if you don't, it can bite you. It can bite you back, obviously, with such fixed price projects. What motivated you as a business to only do or mostly do fixed price projects? Because quite some companies are quite hesitant to do it.
Jasper, one thing kicked into my head when you asked this previous one that I will add, if I may,
Sure.
because you asked me this question. What actually surprised me and that we didn't anticipate when we were doing management buyout. And there is actually one thing that I should mention that I was not really aware at that moment in time, because that was my first management buyout that I did with a external investor that I actually didn't know. We only met, a couple of times, well, numbers of times in the end, but it was just, short meetings, maybe some evenings. And something I didn't expect and foresee is when we had some issues or some hiccups inside with the company, because with management buyout we had a huge loan and paying out the past owners, and when we had some issues, this investor was this kind of guy who was really supportive. And I know many stories where you have external investor that is constantly pushing you because he wants results and not looking in the long term and not really helping business in some other ways, because you are also motivated to bring the results. And that was really surprising and supportive, because many of my colleagues that did similar things unfortunately didn't have this kind of luck. So when they had issues, the investor actually pushed them, which in the end of the day actually forced, well, the business collapsed. So I had a lot of luck. It wasn't intended, and that I have this kind of supportive investor.
Yeah, but is it only luck? Like, obviously you meet, as you said, you meet with a lot of investors, a lot of interested people. You sort of get a feeling with some people as well, right? Like,
That's true that you have this feeling. However, you are looking also a little bit on the other aspect. So if you have this investor, so if you can help with the business, bring some customers, if you have this nice feeling when you are talking with the person, but you are actually not asking the right. Well, I wasn't asking the right questions. It was just a feeling. So what if? And it was all based on the guts that I had, that this person would be a good person. Now, after doing this management buyout, I've learned a lot. That even if you are trying to buy a company and you think you'll finalize it in 3 months or even half a year, that the majority cases will happen.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Then to transition over into those fixed price projects, because that's something I'm quite interested in, and probably people in the audience as well. Can you tell us a little bit about what made you decide to do fixed price projects, and maybe also touch upon some pros and cons of such projects?
Sure. Well, you have to diversify on the market somehow. But at our case, it was not even diversifying. We had customers, and even if you have time and material project, at the end of the day, there is always a budget on the customer side. So there are never projects where the customer have unlimited funds and he just wants to build something until it's done. No, it's not like that. There is always this budget, and I was pretty aware of that. And the thing is, what kind of partner you would like to be for your customer. So if you'd like to be this kind of partner that you are only giving good people that can deliver something, he's managing those. And of course, there are those kind of people that would like to have this kind of setup. Or you would like to be responsible for a bigger piece, show that you are trustworthy, effective, and know what you are doing. Because one thing that is pretty important is doing fixed price project is not like some people say, just having developers and project manager who will manage all this stuff. It's more about managing expectations of the end customer, what he will get at the end and how it could be delivered. And having this fixed price setup, you as a party that is delivering is also motivated to keep the budget and deliver everything within this budget. But also what is very important, deliver the result. Because we have this kind of mentality that it's a little bit in our DNA in Yameo, that we have a little bit different approach. Many companies deliver you people, their work ends when the project is done and the customer is really happy with what he has on production. And for us, delivering the project is just the beginning of the story, because we know that if we do a good job, the customer will be happy, his business actually will evolve, then we will have SLA. And if the project is good, there will be always some changes in the future. So you have the SLA changes to this project. And that's where actually, a real journey with the customer begins, when you are doing a good job and delivering this whole project as a partner. But one thing I can tell you is that, the misconception that many people have is that when you are doing fixed time projects, you have to manage changes, how to manage change requests, and you have to do it in a very good way. And of course, you have many certifications that I also have, like, project management professional certifications from Prince, that can learn you a lot how to manage those kind of situations. But to be honest, that's not the clue. The clue is actually to manage the expectations, to deliver the result that the customer would like to have, and actually act as a consultant. So what you are delivering, you would like to have something like that, because you have to know a little bit about the business of your customer. This is why we also decided to focus on fintech and healthcare. So when we are doing those kind of projects, we can quite easily anticipate and foresee what kind of risks, issues, but also add our knowledge that, yeah, this will work, this didn't work actually in this customer field. So here we are also bringing our additional value to the table. If you are asking about pros and cons, yeah, for sure, it's really hard to do a project on a fixed price when the requirements are not really, I would say, formed. I wouldn't say settled or really well described, because majority of the companies won't start a fixed price project unless those requirements are pretty well described. We actually believe that, you have to know what you want to have at the end, and then basing on that, basing on our experience, you are actually able to foresee how much it will cost. So we don't need requirements that are really fixed, because we know that at the end of the day, even if you begin a project with a fixed requirements, with a huge book of requirements that is written at the beginning, that we are not a fans of this kind of approach. uh, the end project will be always different. So there are always changes during the way, because only when you see something and you start using it, then actually some ideas, or when you clash it with the market, actually then some ideas are coming. And uh, you are always also managing it agile, in an agile way. So if you ask me what are pros and cons, so for the fixed price projects, the pro is definitely for the budget. So the thing you foresee that you will spend, this is something that you will spend. However, here is actually an asterisk. So you have to have a right partner, because you don't want to have a partner that is doing a fixed price project, and after 60% or 70% of the project, he's coming to you and saying, "Oh, sorry, Jasper, we just run out of money because we didn't foresee that it will take so long. So now you have to actually pay more, or we won't deliver it. Or if you like, you can sue us, but then we will actually disappear." And majority of small companies, unfortunately, are working in that manner, which is not good, not fair. And this is something that you should be really aware of. So you have to have a partner with a proven track record that is actually working with the customers, that are he's working for a very, very long time. That shows that he's actually not only delivering the projects, but he's also able to support those kind of customers. uh, However, if you're looking at time and material, so let's say the cons of fixed price projects, and when the time and material is better, if you want to deliver something, do it really fast. You don't really know where you're going. uh, so now, AI is a trend. So you would like to deliver something. I have a lot of money. Let's do it. Let's agree on some cap that we want to spend more than. So we are anticipating that I will have 10 developers for 1 year, and please help me manage this. But then we don't know where we are going. We will see it along the way. So without requirements, for sure, time and material is way better. It's also a way better approach, but it's not a project anymore when you are outsourcing people. So the company would like to be in charge of the whole process of building, would like to have internal knowledge, and you are just giving extra resources to speed the build. But it's not really time and material. It's pure outsourcing capabilities. And one of the last thing is actually you have to be really good in managing resources and projects. So the things that together with my business partner we see is that many projects are mismanaged. So you just have resources that are doing one thing. You are not wondering why they are doing it so long. Maybe they will be effective if someone would help them, or they will do something different. As you are paying on time and material basis, you are not really motivated. You will have it in the timesheet that you will bring to the customer. And here it's more about optimization. So I believe if you have the knowledge, if you have the domain knowledge, you know what you are doing, it's a fair approach that you are showing to the customers. And we are actually feeling really good in those kind of projects that we are doing. And this is why we are going a little bit against the current.
Yeah. And that's what I feel as well. Like, if you believe in your people, if you believe in your capabilities, if you believe in your abilities to deliver results and deliver the outcome, the result that the client wants, then I think definitely the fixed price project is a great way to do it. Also from the client side as well, and if you can show that you're a good partner in that sense as well, because that is also quite interesting. Something that I want to discuss. That what you typically see in software development, it is typically what I see at least. It's one-off projects. So the company needs something. They need a specific system, application, whatever. They work with a business like Yameo or someone else, and that's done. That's it. And maybe next year another project is there, another need that they have, and they will again search for some companies and work with someone else. Can you? And I think what you shared with me in the past as well is that only 2 of your customers are not with you anymore, sort of. Which is very interesting, as I said, in software development. I'm very curious on how you then position yourself as that partner, how you make sure to keep the relationship good with your client and let them see that they need you in that sense, not only for one project, but as an ongoing partner based on your own expertise.
So here, the first thing is that every customer is different. And it's not a statement that enterprise is different than a scale up or a startup. Enterprise to enterprise or startup to startup will be different. And the thing that you have to be aware is that actually, of course, you can be in a role of consultant that you know better because you have seen so many projects, but it's more about understanding the customer, understanding his challenges, and looking through the challenges from that perspective. So the customer perspective, what would be actually the best and effective way how he can solve and how you can help him to solve those issues. So majority of the projects that we are finalizing have SLA, but it's not a golden rule. So we believe that if we do a project, it is working, we have 100% capability of supporting it. On the other hand, the customer has this peace of mind that when the project is on production, he knows that if there will be an issue, we will be really fast in reaction. And also, if he will need some changes, we won't tell him, oh, sorry, you have to wait another 2 or 3 months because currently we are actually supporting another customer and we are doing different project, but we are there to help you. We are there to support you. And actually, you are really important to us because we want you to be successful. And because of that, we are also having calls once a week, once a month, depending on the customer. And it's not done by people who are actually like customer success managers that are there, but those are people who actually have knowledge. In some cases, this is me. In some cases, this is different people, depending which is actually a better person to help those customers better, to discuss his issues, to discuss the plans, to discuss the ideas or the current challenges, and trying to help him to solve those issues.
Yeah.
Or what also can we do to perform better and to support you better? And with this kind of attitude, both with our uh, project approach, but also product that we have, uh, we are really successful in managing those kind of relations. When I mentioned that only 2 customers are not longer with us since I joined the company, which is actually 8 years. This is the reason that one of the customers was actually already quitting that when I joined. So it was not a fast quit because it was for a longer period. Those quits took like 1 year or 1.5 years. It was quite a big enterprise. And another customer was actually a huge enterprise from Germany. They wanted to launch a startup and to see if it will work. So they actually separate a small group of people, launch the startup because they know that they won't be able to manage it in an agile way, and they want to test the market. If that actually would be a good idea for home appliances, if we will add some video equipment and video solution to the ideas what they would like to do. And at the end of the day, this idea didn't work. It was actually a quite interesting idea. We also have some doubts, but they did the market research that actually this is something that should work, and this is the reason why the second customer is not with us. Apart from that, all of the other customers, because of this approach, because of this supportive attitude, and this attitude that if we will make our customer successful, we will also be successful. Yeah, this relation grows.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Very like it sounds very straightforward. Like making sure a customer gets the result, is happy, succeeds, and therefore you yourself as a company will succeed.
It is, but what you have to be aware is that it's not like please send me an NPS form how happy you are with our
No, no,
services.
no.
It's this real partnership approach. Actually, one thing that I've learned from the past owners, and actually this is a Dutch thing, I believe, is to have this win-win attitude. Well, I know what win-win mean and how it should be formed, but working with Dutch customers, I actually understood that it's actually bringing it to another level. So you really have to understand your customer. You really have to understand his pains just to offer him a proper win-win situation. Otherwise, you are not able to build it.
No, no. I want to end with that because that is the most important thing. Always having the customer in mind, understanding what's in it for them, what is it that they actually need, what are they experiencing, and how can you help them solve that next pain point, that next bottleneck, that next goal that they have. That's something I want to end with. I really want to thank you for this conversation. If there's someone listening and thinks, well, I want to speak with you, I want to learn more about Yameo, where can they find you or where can they find the company?
So you can find us on the website, yameo.eu. You can find me on LinkedIn, Maciej Krajewski, but also you can look at our product for video branching and remote inspection called videoinperson.com. So don't be a stranger and just click.
Awesome. I will make sure that those links are provided as well so people can easily find you. Thanks again. Thanks for the nice conversation, the nice insights. Hopefully, the listeners, the audience have learned something from it. And all good luck with everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much, Jasper. Thank you for the conversation.